Hey folks, welcome to another review with yours truly, Sam Healey. Today we're taking a look at this little fella right here, Eye Catch. Comes in a little circular tin, and it has basically a deck of circular cards in there with a card that has its instructions on it. There's 2 games to play in this box, not just one. It's pretty much one is a variation of the original. And it's basically a twist on memory and a visual realization, I guess you could say. Let's get down to the table. I'll show you how it works, and then we'll come back with some final thoughts in just a few moments. Now, there are 2 ways to play Eye Catch. The first one is the basic game of Eye Catch. The other one is a Sly Fox variation, and we'll go over that in just a few moments. But the basic way you play Eye Catch is you have the deck of cards that are sitting right here, and then at the beginning of the game, you turn over 2 that are face up. What you're trying to do is find combinations of 3. Either 3 cards of the same color, 3 animals that are the same, or 2 animals that are the same and 2 colors that are the same out of 3. That's what you're looking for. Any one of those 3 things represents a catch, and you'll be able to take those 3 cards and add them to your deck. Basically, after this deck runs out, whoever has the most cards in their hand is the winner. So it starts off with 2 cards face up, and the first person will take a card and flip it over. If there is a catch, for example, right now we do have 2 of the same color, but we don't have 2 of the same animal out there, so this isn't a catch. If there's a catch, then the person that sees the catch first has to yell, "Catch!" And then if they are the first person, they will be able to take the cards. If there is a tie for 2 people that see a catch, then they will get removed from the game. Neither of the persons get it. So we continue going with another one. So at this point, somebody would say catch, and then they would be able to take these 3 cards and add them to their pile. And then going on, he continues. Next person would draw, and then the next person goes, and then the next person, and then the next person, catch. All right, and so they would be able to take these 3 and add them to their hand over here off to the side. And so then we continue playing and playing and playing. Oh, it's getting close. And continuing. Catch. All right, because we have 2 of the same color here and 2 salamanders or geckos. So that would be a catch like this. All right, so that person would take theirs over here. And then we continue and we flip this of catch. And so this 2 reds, and then there are 2 fishes that comes over here, and that is a catch for them. And so we continue, and no, that's not it. Continue. No, that's still not it. We continue. Catch! Because we have 3 squirrels. Okay? Now we continue again. And then somebody turns over. Catch! Is that? Yes, it is. Wow, look at that. And then we turn over and turn over. Now, if somebody says, for example, at this point, if this person had yelled catch because they saw the 2 colors and then they said, that matches, then they would have to take one of their cards that's out here and replace it like this. So they would lose a card for jumping the gun and being incorrect. And this is how the game continues until this deck runs out. Whoever has the most points in their hand, or most cards in their hand, is the winner. Now, in the Sly Fox variant of how to play this game, 2 cards are momentarily revealed so that everybody can see on the board what they are. And they need to memorize, for example, orange squirrel, purple pelican, whatever. All right, so you after everybody is ready to go and they memorize those 2 cards, they are actually turned over. And now the first player has the ability to reveal 3 cards. Those cards can be a combination of the ones that are down here or cards from the deck. So if the person wanted to, they could flip over 3 cards from the deck face up, and if there's a catch, then they would get it and then they could continue going. But if there's no catch, it turns to the next person and then they have a run at it. So for example, maybe I want to turn over this and I've got to remember what those are. Okay, no. So we turn over this. So I can remember that there's a squirrel over here, but there's no catch. These cards are left face up for a little bit and then they're turned over like this. And the next person gets to go. All right, so he'll turn one over here. Okay, I remember that this one is an orange. So I'll turn that over, and then I'll turn this one over because now this is a catch. So this is mine, and I can continue going. So I'll turn over this. Ooh, and this, and this. This and this, that's a catch because you have 2 of the same color and 2 of the same animal. So now I can continue going. I'm going to turn this over, and I forgot what this is, so I'm going to turn it over, and then I'll turn over a 3rd one. Oh, that's not a catch. So at this point, the cards will remain briefly in place, like I said earlier, on the table for the other players to memorize, and then they're flipped over, and the next person gets to continue. So this is the Sly Fox variation of the game, but that's generally how, just like the original, it continues until this deck is run out, and whoever has the most cards in their catch pile is the winner. So that is iCatch from Game Factory. It is a neat game as far as memory-esque visual realization type of games are concerned for me. I am not that good at them, but my youngest, Aiden, is a shark at games like this. He runs me into the ground with just basic memory games more often than not. I'm usually pretty good with spatial memory, but I don't know what it is, and it's not me taking it easy on him more often than not. He whoops me at memory games more often than not, and he really enjoyed this game a lot. He had a lot of fun with it. Now, it is a game that has a lot of chaos in it, and the reason I say it has chaos in it is because of the whole shouting out catch and trying to be the first one there. And it's really difficult sometimes to really know for sure, did those 2 people really tie, or did one kind of beat out the other one and one was just louder and so it sounded like they were tied? And that's what I mean by chaotic in this game, because there can be a lot of head scratching and kind of eye rolling. Yeah, the loudest person is the one that's going to win because nobody's going to hear me over so-and-so. Now, a couple of the pros of the game, most people don't like 10s, but I really do. I like these little metal 10s. They just feel more durable, I guess you could say, than cardboard. And I guess that sometimes they aren't, especially if you really go out of your way to try to bend them or something to that effect. But I just really like the tactile feel of a 10 as opposed to a cardboard circular box. Now that's kind of strange to say, but I hope you get what I mean. The fact that this game has basically 2 ways to play the same general form, I think that's a cool thing. You can go with the more chaotic version, which is the base game, or you can go with the variant, which has a little bit more of a memory aspect tied to it. So I like that. It gives you 2 ways to play basically the same game without changing up the rules too much. So that's another pro as well. I like it. The other pro is that it does have a very broad and wide appeal to the number of players that can play, first of all, and then on top of that, the age of the players that are able to compete. Because sometimes you can say that such an age of person, usually the younger age person can play a game, but they're not really. They're being helped along, and they're almost like a quote-unquote dummy player in the game, in that somebody else is basically telling them what to do. They're not playing the game themselves. That's not true with a game like this. This game, the person that might be a little too young, according to the age on the box, they might still be able to compete. And I like games that do that, that are more inclusive with the ages that are allowed to play and compete within the game. So that's another bonus. The cons of the game for me is the one that I already mentioned, how chaotic it can feel, and especially with the base version of the game where you're having to shout catch out, and there's just a little bit too, it's too loosey-goosey, so to speak, as far as you really have to be, boom, tried and true, the first person. But if two people are close to tying and they're like, no, and one person's like, no, I was definitely first, he was just louder, that can really kind of muddy up the game experience really quickly. So that's kind of a con for me. I don't like usually chaotic games. I don't like Pit, where you're having to yell out all this kind of stuff. I don't like games that usually have to do that. I don't like slapping games or either, so where you have to slap on something out there on the table. So that's the kind of chaos that the base version of the game represents, and so it's kind of a con for me. But that's really the only con that's there. All in all, I do like the game, and usually I wouldn't find myself liking these kinds of games as much as I liked this one, and I think probably one of the main reasons why this one came out is because, first of all, it does have that inclusion of many different ages of people, and it can be played very easily. It is a good twist on those memory-esque kind of games that I usually don't enjoy. But I found myself enjoying this one a little bit more. Preferably also the Sly Fox variant, because I like that being able to kind of push your luck on your own, and then you know, having somebody else give a go. So I guess you could say it's a little, you felt a little bit more control over that version of the game than the original base way to play the game. So all in all, I think I'll give this one a 6 out of 10. I do enjoy it for its family weight value. I do enjoy it for its ease of entry. But I don't think I'll want to come back to it as often as maybe I would to get a higher rating of like maybe a 7. So that's number 6 out of 10 for iCatch from Game Factory. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you guys on the flip side.